In the heart of Tennessee in the year 1818, an unsettling tale unfolded that would linger in whispers and shadows for generations to come. A small and modest farmhouse, surrounded by dense woods and rolling hills, became a stage for the inexplicable, a stage for the Bell Witch. The Bell family, led by John Bell, was known for their hard-working nature and inviting spirit. They cultivated the land, raised their children, and contributed generously to the community. However, one fateful evening, while tending to his crops, John encountered a strange creature. Some say it resembled a dog, while others insist it was a strange apparition. Whatever it was, John Bell could not shake the feeling that something dreadful was on the horizon. Shortly after that eerie encounter, the family began to hear unusual noises at night. It started with faint whispers, soft enough to be dismissed, but disturbing enough to awaken curiosity. As days turned into weeks, the sounds grew louder, knocking on walls, rustling like leaves, and unsettling wails that echoed through the night. The family attempted to ignore the noises, attributing them to the creaking of their old home. But in the depths of that year, the disturbances escalated. Chairs began to move of their own accord. It was as if invisible hands were rearranging the furniture, setting the stage for something dark and mischievous. The flickering candles became a constant, dancing eerily in rhythm with the chaos that surrounded the Bell household. One evening, as the family gathered around the fireplace, the atmosphere turned oppressive. A chill hung in the air, and despite the crackling flames, an unsettling silence fell over the room. Suddenly, a candle near the edge of the table extinguished with a forceful puff. The family's youngest daughter, frightened and wide-eyed, pointed in disbelief at a figure that seemed to shimmer in the shadows, a misty outline that vanished just as quickly as it appeared. This unsettling presence soon revealed itself through distinct voices, taunting and whispering well beneath the threshold of human comprehension. The voice claimed to be the spirit of a woman named Kate Batts, wronged in life and harboring a vendetta against John Bell. As paranormal phenomena began to mirror Kate's rage, it became clear that something sinister was at play. John Bell, initially dismissive of the strange occurrences, was soon caught in a web of fear and confusion. As the spirit's antics escalated from mere pranks to sinister threats, he realized he could no longer ignore the reality of the Bell Witch. The family soon found themselves at a crossroads. They could either confront this spirit head-on or risk living under its torment. Determined to put an end to the mayhem, John invited neighbors and friends to witness the supernatural events. Skeptical but intrigued, they gathered one evening, filling the small parlor with murmurs of disbelief. As the clock struck midnight, the air thickened with anticipation. Everyone present sat in expectant silence, hearts pounding. Would they find answers? Would the spirit reveal its true intentions? Without warning, a chair flew across the room, crashing into the wall with a deafening thud. Gasps filled the air, quickly turning to chaotic whispers. The flickering candles seemed to dim, each light pulsating as if in sync with the mounting tension in the room. It was a spectacle that left even the most hardened skeptics wide-eyed with terror. Days turned into sleepless nights, and the Bell family's plight drew the attention of curious souls from afar. People traveled miles, not only to experience the parlor where chairs moved, but also to understand the dark energy that surrounded the Bell Witch. As rumors spread like wildfire, they became intertwined with local newspaper accounts, making the Bell family the subject of great scrutiny. John sought the help of local spiritualists and mediums, desperate to find solace and peace for his family. It was during these sessions that the paranormal interactions shifted from mischief to outright malevolence. The once playful spirit exposed itself as a harbinger of despair, relishing in the family's misery. John Bell faced an insidious shadow that seemed unwavering in its purpose. Backed into a corner, John Bell became weakened by fear and fatigue. As the disturbances multiplied, so did the toll on his health. Long nights of sleeplessness took their toll on him physically and mentally. Townsfolk whispered about the once vibrant farmer, now a shell of his former self, haunted by something no one else could see. But one fateful night, as whispers filled the parlor, John Bell felt a surge of courage. He would not be a victim any longer. Standing in the center of the room, trembling before an unseen force, he demanded to know what this spirit wanted. In what felt like eternity, silence hung heavy in the air before the chilling answer echoed back. The spirit wanted revenge. It wanted John's blood. The revelation sent shockwaves through the households of the Bell family and into the hearts of everyone who dared to listen. The Bell Witch was not merely a haunting, but an embodiment of pain, betrayal, and vengeance that extended far beyond the mortal realm. The Bell family had unknowingly awakened an ancient evil, and it would stop at nothing to fulfill its purpose. With mounting fear and desperation, John sought advice from a local doctor, hoping to find a remedy for the ailments that plagued him. The doctor, intrigued by the haunting phenomena, decided to take matters into his own hands. He prepared a concoction meant to ward off the malevolent spirit. However, as John ingested the mixture, a chilling laughter erupted all around him, filling the room with a sense of impending doom. Thus began the very events that would culminate in tragedy. The once vibrant home, filled with laughter and warmth, now echoed with cries of distress. Neighbors, who had once supported the Bell family, turned into reluctant bystanders, watching in horror as the supernatural rage spiraled out of control. As shadows deepened in the parlor, the flickering candles cast flickers of light upon faces that were once eager but now filled with dread and disbelief. Outside, the night echoed with supernatural whispers, echoing the haunting fate of John Bell. Unbeknownst to the townsfolk, they were spectators to a sinister dance of darkness that would eventually lead to John Bell's demise. In the days that followed, the supernatural grip of the Bell Witch tightened, gripping the family in a way that transcended the ordinary. Although John sought help from outside forces, the spirit's hold would not break. The parlor where the chairs moved would forever bear witness to the horrors of fear, whispering between the flickering of candles that never seemed to extinguish. The Bell Witch wasn't merely a ghost. She was a legend that would haunt Tennessee for years to come. The tale of the Bell family serves as a stark reminder of the mysteries that exist just beyond our understanding, and the darkness that can lurk in the most familiar of places. As the grip of the Bell Witch tightened, the family found themselves caught in an unrelenting nightmare. The disturbances escalated, becoming more aggressive and personal. It wasn't just the flickering of candles or the moving of chairs. The spirit began to target the individual members of the Bell family one by one, each encounter more chilling than the last. One evening, after a particularly harrowing day, Lucy Bell, John's beloved daughter, was seated near the fireplace, trying to distract herself with a book. Suddenly, the very words she was reading seemed to morph into taunts. The text appeared to twist and shift, mocking her every thought. "You think you are safe," it seemed to whisper. Lucy dropped the book in terror, her heart racing as she glanced around the dimly lit room. The temperature dropped, and a shadow flitted across the wall, unmistakably human but utterly hollow, devoid of life. In a desperate attempt to reclaim some semblance of normalcy, Lucy and her siblings decided to gather around the table one evening for dinner. Their mother, deeply worried about her family, attempted to prepare their favorite meal. As they sat down to eat, the atmosphere felt charged, thick with unspoken fear. Just as they began to partake in their meal, plates began to rattle violently, and forks flew from the table, striking the wall with a resounding clatter. "Stop!" screamed Lucy, her voice trembling. But the spirit relished the chaos as laughter echoed throughout the house, chilling her to the bone. John, weary from sleepless nights and haunted by the constant torment, summoned a few of the bravest neighbors to witness the phenomena firsthand. They arrived on a stormy night, lightning illuminating the darkened sky as they entered the Bell home. The air was thick with anticipation, an electric energy igniting both fear and curiosity. As the assembled group settled into the parlor, they shared baffled whispers but soon fell silent at John's request. The atmosphere shifted, and the spirits seemed to awaken, responding to the collective energy in the room. Chairs began to slide across the wooden floor, accompanied by the soft tinkling of unseen bells. John stood firm. "Is anyone here with us?" he called out into the unnerving darkness. The room trembled with silence before a guttural voice emerged from the shadows, repeating his question in a mocking tone. "You ask if anyone is here, but you know I am always here." The voice hissed with sinister delight, sending shivers down the spines of everyone present. Murmurs of disbelief spread through the crowd as a nearby candle flickered violently, its flame dancing like a wild creature before extinguishing completely, leaving them cloaked in eerie darkness. From the shadows, a chair flew back once more, crashing against the wall. One neighbor stumbled, nearly losing his balance. "We've got to leave! This is madness!" he shouted, finally succumbing to fear. But John was resolute. He refused to allow the spirit to conquer them. The community, initially supportive, now seemed divided. Many doubted the Bell family's plight, while others were simply terrified. In their hearts, they all felt the weight of unanswered questions and apprehensions. What was this entity that mocked their disbelief? As weeks passed, the Bell family found that the spirit, now dubbed the Bell Witch by the townsfolk, grew bolder. The spirit began to invade their dreams, whispering ominous warnings and threats, forging a bond of fear throughout their sleeping hours. In the dead of night, Lucy often awoke to find herself unable to move, an unseen force pressing down upon her chest. Shadows danced at the corners of her vision, whispering secrets that echoed within her mind. "You will pay the price," the voice would say, a malicious glee lacing its tone, every syllable filled with an unmistakable hunger. One particular night, driven by desperation, John, Lucy, and her brothers ventured into the woods surrounding their home, seeking answers. They felt drawn to the very site where John had seen the strange creature weeks before. The trees loomed overhead, twisting like the anguished souls that might reside within. As they reached a clearing bathed in moonlight, the air thickened with atmosphere and mystery. Lucy felt a chill envelop her, and her heart began to race. "What if this is where it all began?" she whispered, fear flooding her lungs. Suddenly a gust of wind swept through the clearing, swirling leaves around them, creating a cyclone of whispers. "Leave this place. You are not welcome here," the voices echoed, the tone rife with contempt and malice. Fear gripped Lucy's heart as she clutched her brother's hands tightly. "We have to go back!" she cried out. Reluctantly they turned away from the clearing, but glancing back, she could swear she saw a shadowy figure standing at the edge, watching them carefully. Days turned into an unending abyss of terror and disquiet within the Bell household. Night after night, the family endured attacks that left them drained and terrified. The chants of the spirit grew louder and more boisterous, haranguing them with accusations of betrayal and wrongdoing. John, faced with despair, consulted the town's elders for guidance. Each suggestion led him deeper into a desperate cycle of prayer and offerings, but nothing appeased the spirit. It was as if the Bell Witch thrived on their suffering, perpetually drawing strength from their despair, an unyielding force of malice that threatened to tear their family apart. As autumn turned to winter, the darkness seeped into their home more profoundly. With each passing day, John became more withdrawn, sleep eluding him. His health began to decline, and the pain he experienced both physically and psychologically reached agonizing heights. Whispers spread through the community. The Bell family was cursed. Yet, Amidst the chaos, John felt a flicker of hope. He had heard tales of a legendary witch hunter who roamed the lands, someone with the power to confront malignant entities. Summoning every ounce of courage, John resolved to send for this enigmatic figure, knowing it could be their last chance to reclaim their lives. But the Bell Witch was listening. With every decision John made, she grew angrier, unleashing her wrath upon him and his family in wave after wave. The flickering candles in their parlor became a dim reminder of hope. They reflected their sheer resolve against the mounting horror that threatened to engulf them. One dark evening, a firm knock echoed through the home, cutting through the heavy ambience like a knife. Was it the witch hunter? Heart pounding, Lucy rushed to open the door, but the night revealed a figure cloaked in shadows. Was it friend or foe? The air grew heavy with anticipation as they awaited the new chapter of their haunting saga. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a tall figure shrouded in a dark cloak. The flickering light of the candles illuminated a weathered face marked by age, wisdom, and an unmistakable intensity. John Bell stepped forward, squinting into the dim light. "Are you the one they call the witch hunter?" John asked, his voice trembling with a mix of hope and fear. The man nodded solemnly. "I am Solomon Graves," he replied, his voice deep and steady. "I have heard whispers of your plight. The spirit that haunts you is powerful, but I have dealt with entities such as this before." Hope surged within John's chest as he gestured for Solomon to enter. The haunting atmosphere of the house seemed to reverberate with anticipation. As Solomon stepped inside, the candles flickered violently, casting eerie shadows that danced around the room, as if the very spirit within sought to challenge the new presence. "Where is the witch now?" Solomon asked, his piercing gaze scanning the parlor. "She stays close, always watching," Lucy interjected, her voice barely above a whisper. "She thrives on our fear." Solomon nodded, absorbing the gravity of Lucy's words. "Fear is indeed her power. We must confront her with strength, not weakness." He took a deep breath and closed his eyes, invoking an incantation that seemed to echo through the room, amplifying the tension with each word spoken. Suddenly, the air crackled with energy, and a cold gust swept through the house, blowing out the remaining candles in an instant. The darkness wrapped around them, suffocating and oppressive. A low rumble began to emanate from the walls, almost like laughter, sinister and mocking. The Bell Witch was not willing to yield easily. "Let her come," Solomon called into the void. He stood tall, unwavering in the face of the supernatural menace. "I am not afraid of you." As if in response, the house creaked and shuddered, and the very foundation trembled beneath their feet. A chilling voice filled the space, laced with fury. "You think you can banish me? I am eternal, and your light is but a flicker against my darkness." The windows rattled violently, and doors banged shut as if the house were alive, defending its inhabitant. "Your past haunts you as much as you haunt them," Solomon declared, staring into the shadows. "You are bound to this place, consumed by your own hatred. Face me, demon!" An eerie silence fell over the room, the air thick with tension, as if the world itself held its breath. Then, without warning, a chair slid across the floor, and the spirit's laughter echoed again, shrill and disembodied. "Foolish man, you know nothing of the darkness that lies within." The atmosphere turned from tense to chaotic. The walls seemed to close in, filled with sounds of despair and anger. Solomon's voice cut through the tumult. "This is your moment, John. Stand firm. Do not cower. Take back your home." With resolve, John stepped forward, emboldened by Solomon's command. "You have tormented my family long enough. You will not take our lives or our peace." His voice rang out, echoing off the walls, and for a moment the chaos paused. Then the flame of a candle flickered back to life silently, as if calling for courage. Solomon turned, drawing ancient symbols in the air, commanding the forces around him. "You are bound to the earth by your actions, Kate Batts. Show yourself." From the shadows, a figure began to materialize, causing the air to chill even further. A face twisted with rage emerged, pale and contorted, a dark aura shrouding her form. "You have no right to command me," the Bell Witch snarled, her voice a hiss, dripping venom. Solomon remained steadfast. "Your time here is over. You have danced in the shadows long enough, feeding off fear and dread. It ends tonight." Rising from the shadows, the Bell Witch extended her hand, and the room shifted. Furniture rattled violently, and the candles flared, casting unpredictable shadows across the walls. "You think you can vanquish me? I will not go quietly." But John, emboldened by a mix of fear and hope, forged a connection with Solomon. "We have faced down your terror for too long, and we will not be your prey any longer." With that, John thrust his hand to the side, mimicking Solomon's gestures, joining in the confrontation. Murmurs of power surged through the air as Solomon led a chant, weaving a tapestry of connection with the spirit world. "You are bound to manifest your true form," he declared, his voice echoing through the turmoil. "Show us what you truly are." As his words took flight, the air crackled, and the room became hazy with energy, a whirlwind of light and darkness colliding in an ethereal dance. The Bell Witch shrieked, her figure wavering, twisting as if caught in a tempest. "Do not let her claim your fear," Solomon urged, their voices united, strong and unwavering. "You are nothing but a figment of our nightmares, a whisper of our past. We reclaim our peace." With one final surge of energy, the room erupted with light, sending shockwaves that rattled the very foundations of the house. The entity screamed in horror as the light surged toward her, illuminating her form, revealing a glimpse of a tormented spirit, bound by its own hatred. "You cannot do this. I will haunt you forever," she shrieked, the force of her wrath colliding against the light with immense desperation. Then, as if the fabric of reality tore, the spirit was pulled away, disappearing into the void created by their unified strength. The house, once vibrant with oppressive energy, now felt lighter, as if freed from an unseen weight. Breathless, John, Lucy, and Solomon stood amidst the calm, the oppressive atmosphere lifted. Candles flickered softly, casting warm light in the parlor, no longer haunted by the presence of the Bell Witch. "We did it," Lucy whispered, a sense of relief washing over her. "Yes," Solomon sighed, slowly releasing the tension in his shoulders. "But remember, the battle against darkness often lies in our own hearts. Fear can clothe itself in many forms. Stay vigilant." As the family embraced, the dawning light of morning broke through the windows, illuminating their home with warmth and hope. They finally felt a sense of peace returning to their lives, knowing the chapter of the Bell Witch had come to an end. But with it, they understood the importance of facing one's fears and the burdens that come from the past. From that day forward, the Bell family lived with a newfound strength, determination to rebuild their lives, and a deeper appreciation for the light that exists even during the shadows. The haunting tale of the Bell Witch would transform into a story of resilience, a reminder of the strength that lies in confronting the darkness that seeks to consume us all. Days turned into weeks, and the Bell family began to find solace in the quietude that enveloped their home. The haunting that had once tormented their lives now felt like a distant memory, though the scars remained. John Bell was determined to rebuild their lives, even as the echoes of the Bell Witch faded into the background. However, the town's residents remained intrigued and somewhat unsettled by the tales that surrounded the Bell family. News of their battle with the Bell Witch traveled far and wide, stirring curiosity and disbelief across the region. Some were skeptical, dismissing the happenings as mere fanciful stories, while others believed wholeheartedly in the supernatural forces that once plagued the Bell household. Despite the initial skepticism, people began visiting the Bell home, drawn by the sheer gravity of the tale. Some were brave souls eager to witness any lingering remnants of the spirit, while others sought answers, eager to hear first-hand accounts of the family's haunting experience. John understood their curiosity, but he also felt the weight of their stares, a mixture of awe and doubt lingering in the air. One afternoon, as the sun shone brightly, illuminating the farmland outside, Lucy found herself wandering into the woods near their home. She felt a sense of peace in the gentle whispers of the wind and the sound of leaves rustling overhead. For weeks, she had been plagued by nightmares. Fragments of shadowy figures and the chilling laughter of the Bell Witch had haunted her sleep. Today, she sought solace and answers among the trees. As she walked deeper into the woods, memories of her encounters with the spirit flooded her mind. The flickering candles, the chairs that moved on their own, and the voice that echoed menacingly still felt fresh. Yet as the sun sank lower, casting dappled shadows across the forest floor, she began to wonder if the Bell Witch was truly gone or merely lurking, waiting for the right moment to strike again. Suddenly, a chill crept into the air, and Lucy's heart raced. She paused, sensing that she was no longer alone. The atmosphere shifted, thickening with tension. "Is anyone there?" she called out, her voice trembling. Silence hung heavy for a moment before a soft rustle echoed between the trees. Lucy's instincts screamed for her to run, but curiosity held her still. From behind a tree, a shadow emerged, taking on a human shape. Her heart pounded as she recognized the figure as Solomon Graves. "Lucy," he said, his voice steady but urgent. "I knew you would come. There are things you need to understand." "What do you mean?" she asked, straining to hear his words over the tightening of her chest. "There are darker forces at work than you can imagine. The Bell Witch may have been driven away, but remnants of that energy still linger. There are places in this world where the lines between our reality and the spirit world blur." Solomon stepped closer, concern etched across his weathered face. Lucy felt a shiver pass through her. "But we defeated her. We faced the terror together." Solomon shook his head, a grave look in his eyes. "What you faced was but one fragment of her being. Spirits do not easily release their hold. It may only be the beginning of something far more complex." Panic surged inside Lucy. The thought of another phase of terror reawakening was almost too much to bear. "What should we do?" "We must understand the history of that place," Solomon replied, motioning for her to follow. "There are stories woven into the fabric of this land. The Bell Witch's origins extend beyond mere mischief. They are rooted in ancient traditions, curses, and desires for vengeance." As they ventured further into the woods, Solomon began recounting tales of the land, how the very earth had seen generations of sorrow and struggle. He spoke of lost spirits from decades past, bound to the area by their unfinished business. "There is a site not far from here, where the earth thins between our world and the next," he explained. "Many spirits linger there, yearning to be released. If we do not confront these remnants, they could become emboldened. The Bell Witch's hold may just be the beginning." Lucy listened intently, her heart racing with apprehension. "What do you expect to find there?" "The answers," Solomon replied. "We will seek to understand her true nature, find her remaining essence, and confront any lingering darkness. It may be our best chance of ensuring your family's safety and the safety of the town." Dun. When they arrived at the site, a place where the trees formed twisted shapes, casting eerie shadows, it felt alive with electric energy. The wind howled through the branches, and the palpable tension raised the hair on Lucy's arms. Solomon stopped, gazing seriously into the distance. "Here lies the essence of the Bell Witch," he declared, as the hum of energy crackled through the air. "Keep your wits about you. Focus on the truth within." The ground beneath them pulsed, and Lucy felt an oppressive weight settle upon her. "What do I do?" "Call to her," Solomon instructed, his voice steady. "Summon her energy into this realm. We seek to understand and confront." Taking a deep breath, Lucy closed her eyes, allowing her heart to guide her. "Bell Witch," she called out, her voice rising between the trees, "I seek understanding. I come not to fight, but to know your truth." The air crackled, and a chill swept through her, as if the very essence of the woods responded to her plea. The ground trembled beneath her feet, and pitch darkness enveloped them. Shadows began to dance around, coalescing into a human form that emerged from the backdrop of chaos. "Why do you disturb my rest?" The Bell Witch's voice echoed through the dense night, tinged with the same mocking laughter that had haunted their family. "Show us your true form," Lucy urged, trying to remain resolute. "Let us understand the pain that binds you." The air shimmered, and the witch let out a laugh that chilled Lucy to her core. "You think you can understand darkness? You're nothing but children lost in the night." Solomon stepped forward, unyielding in his stance. "You may be bound to this place, but you are not invincible. We seek to break the strings that hold you here, to free not only ourselves, but you as well." "And why would I want freedom?" the Bell Witch hissed, her face contorting in rage. "My power comes from your fear. That fear makes you weak, it holds you captive," Lucy cried out, her confidence strengthening. "Let go of it. There can be release and peace." As their voices united, a brilliant light emanated from Lucy's heart, cascading outward like ripples in a pond. The shadows recoiled, and the Bell Witch faltered. Maybe, just maybe, there was a flicker of recognition in her eyes. "Release me?" the witch echoed, her voice quivering. "Yes," Lucy affirmed, determination filling her voice. "Release yourself from this cycle of anger. Embrace peace." With every word, the light grew stronger, illuminating the woods, dissolving the shadows around them. A haunting transformation began, her rage giving way to the remnants of sorrow buried within. The Bell Witch paused, once filled with darkness, now flickering with uncertainty. Can it be? Can there be a life beyond this anguish? In that moment, something shifted. The oppressive atmosphere lightened, and the essence of the Bell Witch seemed to hesitate between realms. Lucy reached out, her heart full of compassion. "It's not too late. Set yourself free." As the light enveloped them, the Bell Witch's form began to dissolve into particles of energy. Just before vanishing completely, a whisper echoed through the trees, one last plea for understanding, one last acknowledgement of her pain. And in that moment, a calm settled over the woods. Lucy, breathing heavily, felt the air shift and the ground stop trembling. "It's done," she whispered, looking at Solomon, who nodded in gratitude, though his expression held somber reflection. As the shadows faded into the dawn, they knew the journey was only just beginning. They had faced the darkness, but had also learned the way to understanding. The lessons would resonate far beyond that night, bridging the gap between past struggles and future peace, lighting the path forward toward healing for both the Bell family and the spirits that aligned with their fate. As the first light of dawn broke through the trees, casting golden rays across the clearing, Lucy and Solomon remained still, absorbing the weight of what had just transpired. The atmosphere, once heavy with anguish and animosity, was now infused with an unmistakable serenity. The remnants of the darkness had finally lifted, leaving a profound stillness in its wake. Lucy took a deep breath, feeling the crisp morning air fill her lungs. She turned to Solomon, her heart racing with both relief and curiosity. "Did we truly set her free?" Solomon nodded, a contemplative look on his face. "We faced not only her darkness, but also the pain that fueled it. Spirits, much like humans, are born from experiences, love, loss, anger. To confront them with understanding and compassion is the key to liberation. The prospect of healing, a shared journey for both the living and the departed, started to sink in. Lucy realized she had taken an immense step, not just towards her own peace, but for the restless spirit whose life had been marred by grief and revenge. But even in their triumph, a lingering question remained. "What will happen now?" Lucy asked, glancing back at the woods that had held so many secrets. "It's a new beginning," Solomon replied, his voice steady. "The land must heal now. The energy we've released will nourish it, restoring balance. But we must stay vigilant. There are other spirits who may still need our help. Excitement bubbled in Lucy's chest. Can we help them? Is that what you do? Solomon smiled faintly, a warmth spreading through his eyes. Yes, young lady, that is part of my journey. To seek understanding is a noble quest, and one I hope you will join. There are stories all around us, waiting to be told. As they made their way back toward the Bell home, Lucy felt a sense of purpose swell within her. The fear that had once dominated her thoughts was replaced by a resilient determination to learn, to grow, and to help others navigate their grief. The Bell Witch's tale had opened a door to something profound, an awareness of the fragility of existence and the importance of empathy. When they arrived home, John and the rest of the family were waiting, eyes wide with anticipation. The morning light brought hope, and the burden they had carried felt lighter in the new day. They gathered in the parlor, a central space that had borne witness to both their torment and their journey toward healing. "Lucy! Solomon!" John exclaimed, relief flooding his voice. "You're safe! What happened?" With a surge of energy, Lucy stepped forward, eager to share her experience. "We confronted her, Dad. We faced the Bell Witch and sought to understand her pain. Solomon helped me realize that underneath it all, she was a spirit lost in her sorrow. We set her free." John's eyes widened, a mixture of disbelief and joy springing forth. The warmth of relief washed over the family as they embraced one another, feeling the ties of love that had held them together grow stronger. "That's astounding. But how do we ensure that darkness doesn't return?" John asked, his brow furrowed with concern. "There's still work to be done," Solomon said, taking a seat at the table and gesturing for Lucy to join him. "We must nurture the energies surrounding this land, restoring balance and ensuring that the past does not repeat itself. Each of you can play a role in this healing." The family gathered around, their faces alight with hope and purpose. Solomon began to craft a plan, teaching them rituals and practices that would honor both the land and the spirits intertwined with their lives. They learned about the significance of intention, the power of offerings, and the importance of collective energy in creating a harmonious environment. As days turned into weeks, the Bell family worked together, fostering a connection with the land they had once feared. They planted gardens, tended to the earth, and offered prayers and gratitude to the unseen forces they had come to understand as part of their community. Neighbors, curious about the change that had come over the Bell home, began to venture closer. What had once been a house of shadows and whispers now radiated warmth and acceptance. The stories of the Bell Witch transcended their painful origins, transforming into tales of empowerment, compassion, and healing. Lucy often found herself standing at the edge of the woods, reflecting on her experience with the spirit. Each time she stepped into the forest, it felt more inviting, less daunting. The initial fear that had once gripped her heart faded, replaced by a sense of kinship with the earth, the spirits, and the very essence of life itself. One day, as the sun dipped low in the sky, Lucy and her family gathered on the porch, sharing laughter under the golden hue. They spoke of the changes that had come, not just within their home, but within themselves. Each family member had grown stronger, woven together by threads of shared experiences and mutual healing. As twilight fell, a gentle breeze swirled through the air, carrying with it the soft murmurs of ancestors and the whispers of those who had once walked the land. The Bell family felt the presence of the spirits, not as threats, but as companions who shared their journey. "You see, my dear," Solomon said, his eyes sparkling with wisdom, "the Bell Witch was a chapter in your story, but she isn't the end. Each of us carries the power to confront our fears, to understand the pain within, and to rise above it. Together, we create a tapestry rich with healing." Lucy nodded, brimming with newfound purpose. The Bell Witch story, once a tale of terror and despair, now bloomed into a narrative of resilience, community, and transformation. They would continue to walk this path together, ready to face whatever shadows may arise, emboldened by the light they had nurtured within themselves. With that resolve, the Bell family looked toward the horizon, the future bright with possibility, ready to embrace the next page of their story. A story woven not just in darkness, but one that honored the light they had discovered in the face of adversity.